Okay, so here is a list of fictional data from the Scores on our Chapter 1 test. I asked Chad to make me a list because I didn't want to put anyone on blast. And we are going to find the percentile of some of my characters over here. So first we need to define percentile. The X percentile is the value with X percent of observations less than or equal to it. I'm going to take my highlighter. I think there's highlighters in the basket if you want them. And I'm going to highlight the less than or equal to. That is the key piece of information in that definition. Something's percentile is a value with X% of observations less than or equal to it. Okay, and now I have some tips for you in my bullet points. The first one is just to make us sound intelligent. When we're talking about percentiles, we say that numbers are at a percentile, not in a percentile. If you say something's in a percentile, it's going to sound like you don't know what you're talking about. So just want to throw that out there ahead of time to make sure. Okay, now these ones are some really common percentiles. And these you might have figured out or just didn't think of it yet, but it might make sense to you now. Quartile 1 is the 25th percentile, about. The median is about the 50th percentile. Quartile 3 is about the 75th percentile. And all of the 10% are called deciles. The only time I've ever seen deciles being used on anything is like an AP Psych application. Some IQ tests and things report your scores in deciles. I've seen elementary school standardized testing being reported in deciles. So you're like in the between 80 and 90, between 70 and 80, something like that. I don't know that I've ever really seen it in this class too much, but just so you know, just educated, know what you're looking at. Okay, and then last thing. Oh goodness, I can't write all of a sudden. So I want to point out today we're working with the chapter 1 test scores. I really try to make my lessons be some kind of applicable situation for you. So we're talking about test scores, but High percentile is not always good. So if you have a high percentile of cholesterol, that's not great. Um, something like that. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys set up. Hopefully you can see Mariano and Colleen's examples. Look at how good Mariano did. I mean, that's impressive for a chameleon. Proud of it. Little guy. In his defense, he's been in this room several years now, so he's probably heard the curriculum a few times. Okay, Mariano the chameleon. Hold on, gotta go back to I'm multitasking over here. Okay, Mariano the chameleon scored a 20.5 on the test. Calculate and interpret Mariano's percentile. Okay, this is really, really simple, but we have to be careful with the definition. So we're going to come back up to our data set and we say, okay, Mariano is one of these two. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, now it says less than or equal to, so we have to assume it's the second one because we need to count everything less than or equal to. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 scores are less than or equal to Mariano's score. Okay, so we say 14 out of the 33 students in the class, of the 33 data values. And then we find Mrs. Talbot's calculator that was always here. Okay, so in the percentiles, you're going to notice that they are all whole number percentiles. So I'm going to call this the 42nd percentile. So I'm going to take the 4, round down, and make this the 42nd percentile. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so I'm going to go equals 0.42. Mariana scored in the 42nd percentile. Okay, and it says interpret. Mariana scored at the 42nd percentile. Forty-two percent of students scored less than or equal to Mariana. Okay, do you understand how to count in to a number that is less than or equal to, if there's repeats, you count both, put that over the total, and then the interpretation is that percent of the population. We will, if you don't know what the population is, by the way, we just say reference population. Reference population covers you for everything. 42% of the reference population scored less than or equal to Mariano. 70% of tomatoes weigh less than or equal to this tomato, something like that. I don't know. My sister bought 2 bushels of tomatoes this weekend and she's like processing and canning them for winter. Me, I go to Trader Joe's and just get the stuff off the shelf. And anyway, okay. It's very admirable. I just don't have it. I don't have what she has. Colleen, Mariana's girlfriend, scored at the 70th percentile of the distribution. Find Colleen's score. Okay, so this time we're going to work backwards. So in calculating the percentile from the list, we divide it. So working backwards, we're going to multiply. So we're going to say, okay, the 70th percentile is 0.70. Does that make sense? Okay. Out of 33 students that took the test. So 0.70 times 33. And we know that our test scores were in whole numbers or 0.5. So this one is rounding to 23. Okay, you guys, we're halfway done. We learned how to calculate and interpret percentiles. It wasn't too bad, was it? It was counting. Counting and dividing on the calculator to get a decimal. Not too bad. Okay, now we're going to do the second half of the lesson, which is Z-score, which is also not bad. Like I said, this is perfect lesson for a Monday. Okay. Standardized score is Z-score. A Z-score tells you how many. Does anybody know what a Z-score is already? Did anybody know what percentiles were already? Nothing wrong with that. A Z-score tells you how many standard deviations a value is from the mean and direction. So if you have a value that is above the mean, if you scored above the A class average, you would have a positive Z-score. And if you scored below the class average, you would have a negative Z-score. This is where we're going in this chapter. And these big numbers here are Z-scores. So this is the mean, the 0 Z-score, and then the normal curve typically goes out 3 on either side. We're going to spend a lot of time looking at the normal curve, not today, but just so you know, these guys are your Z-scores. And each one of these jumps here is a standard deviation. Okay. Z-score has a formula. I'm going to write it twice, and then I want to talk about the difference between the two formulas. They're actually the same, but I want to make sure. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about this fancy stuff I'm writing. Look at me go. My fancy, my pinky's out and everything. If anybody knows that reference, that's wonderful. Okay. So it's SpongeBob reference. When in doubt, pinky out. Anyway, so this is exactly the same thing written twice. This is a theoretical perfect Z-score, which means that you have the mean of the population. So that's mu, like the cat says. And then this is lowercase sigma. You guys know uppercase sigma, he's the added all together one. So this is lowercase sigma. This is V equals whatever value you're interested in minus the mean divided by standard deviation. This is the theoretical one, the perfect one. Or if you have like a very small population, so if our population is just our class, we could definitely calculate our mean and our standard deviation for just our class. Okay, this one is from a sample. So that's what you're mostly going to work with, because you mostly are not going to know everything about every single individual. So X minus mean, so this is sample mean, population mean, sample mean. His name is X bar. And then over sample standard deviation, which is S sub X. These two guys are on your one variable stats in the calculator. So you just get those off the calculator. Okay, this is the next step I would like you to do. Everyone in the whole class, I would like you to please type in very carefully all 33 numbers into L1 and find the mean and standard deviation of this giant data set.
Oh.
September 4th. Go back. Juliana can help you too, but I like you, so I'm right here. How are you doing? So this is fun. I think Chad gave me, he's often wrong, so I don't trust whatever he said, but I think he said 20.77 to me. No, yeah. And then he said 3.8 for the standard deviation. 3.80. He's correct. Holy shamoly. I was trying to get him to count. He couldn't do it right earlier. I have the $8 upgrade one. Yeah. But I use him so much for this class because there's nobody to collaborate with. Oh, is it 7-1?
Yeah, I don't know. We got 7.
Chad got 7-7. And then 3.8 for the stand 3.80 for the standard deviation.
Yeah.
S sub X. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Proud of him. I'm gonna have to tell him. Because I just reamed him earlier. He gave me I asked him for a third. So when I was getting this data set, I literally said, "Can you give me a 33 number data set?" He gave me a 32 number data set. I'm like, "God, how hard?" And he was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And then I said, "You can just add a repeat value." And so I was like, "Add another 22 or whatever." And then he's like, "Now I have 34." I'm like, "Oh, it's not that hard, dude." He made me feel better. He actually said though, that Chad should not be asked to count before he has coffee, which I thought was cute. Okay, calculate Mariano's z-score and interpret. So z equals, what was Mariano's score again? 20.5? 20.5 minus 20.77 over 3.80. Okay, now sounds silly, but it's the most important thing. You either have to hit enter or put the numerator in parentheses. Yes, 21? Mariano's score? Did I write it? Ah, ah, ha. Okay, anyway, thank you. So good, so good. Thank goodness you're here. Apparently I need coffee. Okay, so Mariana's score minus the mean. You have two options. You can put the top in parentheses and then divide, or you can hit enter, which is what I'm gonna do, and then divide by the standard deviation. I just do it in 2 steps instead of 1 step. What does this mean for us? What is this like, what does this tell you? Yeah, so he scored below average, but just a little bit. It's so close, he probably did score on the average. 0.07 is really little. So, because our data set is discrete because it's just whole numbers and 0.5. So because of the rounding, he probably did just score the average. Good job, Mariano. But anyway, okay. So this is how we interpret. Mariano's score. I already wrote the S for Mariano's and then thought I had an S already. Okay, and do you guys see where the below came from? On this particular problem, I mentioned units here. You would normally put like minutes or feet or something after this, but score is really just a score. Okay, we have two more and then we're done. If Arthur has a z-score of negative 0.466, what score did he get on the test? Oh man, algebra. Let's work backwards. You wonder why you have to have math 3 before this class. Here we go. Okay, negative 0.466 goes in the z-score spot equals x is what we're solving for. That's his score. Oh, Arthur's the alligator over there, by the way. Minus the mean divided by standard deviation. For me, I like to multiply both sides by 3.80. We probably just need the 7, huh? Okay, last one of the day. Then I want to show you where to find your homework problem. Then I want to show, I might show you my joke first. I have a daily joke. Whenever I do a lecture, there's a joke at the end. It might be terrible. It's stats related. It might be bad. But you can look forward to a joke at the end of every time I teach. Speaking of the NWEA, we do not do that in stats. There's a little bit of stats on there, but it's not really. Okay, so let me just talk about this one. This question is the whole reason that z-scores exist. why do we need Z-scores? Z-scores help us compare completely different things. The chapter one test is out of 26 and is a math test, kind of stuff for third kind of math, which is a lot of sense. And then the NWEA is, well, it's reading, but it's also out of 350 is I think the perfect score on the NWEA, which our calculus class has never gotten. I don't know, they tried real hard. Anyway, so do you guys see that these are completely different scales? And what you can do is find the Z-score for both of them, and then you can actually compare the two. Mariano's Z-score, we can just steal from the problem above. So for Mariano, his Z-score was negative 0.07, correct? Okay, now what do you need to know about the NWEA in order to compute Colleen's Z-score? Mean and standard deviation of the NWEA. Now I asked Chad what a reasonable average 12th grade reading score would be, and you're not going to believe what he said. Okay, what do you guys usually get on the NWEA in reading? Yeah, right? He said that the mean was 218 for 12th grade.
I was more better on.
I think for Benicia, it's more like 281, not 218, but it's okay. We'll just go with, okay, so over here, put, it doesn't really matter. It has to be given to you anyway. We're just learning how to do the math here. So, didn't really give Mariano a chance on the chapter one test though, huh? Only one L in Colleen. Normally there's two L's in Colleen. Okay, and then after you read this sentence yourself while you're writing it, I'm hoping that you kind of make a clip with this and what we did in chapter one. We used that comparison word of higher, and then we stated the actual data values. You guys remember I was doing that in chapter one? So this is exactly the same sort of thing. It's just you're comparing, you say some kind of directional word. I chose higher in this case, and then actually stated the numbers that we found in the problem. Okay, how do you feel about this lesson? E4 percentile. I don't think it's too bad. Okay. Make sure everybody's done-ish. Then I will show you my joke. Okay, so I have this kind of dumb PowerPoint thing that I make for, made for stats. Hold on. Okay. This is today. We did describing location 2.1A. We had two objectives today, calculate and interpret percentiles, calculate and interpret standardized scores. Do you feel like we covered those two objectives today? Yes? Okay. Here's my joke. Love letter from a statistician. You're 3 standard deviations above the norm. The other chicken says, thanks. He doesn't know what that means, but we do. You should definitely tell one of your teammates that they're definitely above the norm in standard deviations. It's a nice compliment. Okay, now the homework tonight is 1 through 7 odd, 13 through 19 odd. The first thing I need to tell you is that there is a typo on your assignment sheet. So can you please find your stamp sheet? I forgot to write the odd in for the 1 through 7. A bunch of you guys, by the way, on the summer work, did all of the problems when you only had to do the odd ones. This is, I appreciate the extra practice, but, you guys know what odd means? Okay. Okay, so a couple of things. First, put odd right there. So it's 1, 3, 5, 7, 13, 15, 17, 19, 8 problems. Okay, now let's talk about where to find this. You guys are going to find this in your Clever. And you don't have to do it right now. If you guys could just watch the screen, I'm going to show you a couple of things. This ebook is clunky. It's not nearly as nice as the CPM ebook. We have enough at the library for you to check a book out and take it home and just leave it there for the rest of the year if you don't want to deal with this clunky ebook. So as soon as I'm done teaching, I'm going to let anyone go to the library that wants to go check out a book. But let me show you where this is. So the textbook is called Achieve. It's this squiggly red dealio. If I were you, I would click the little heart on it so it would be at the top of the page. It's going to say AP Statistics. You might have multiple Achieve books. I know a couple of other ones use Achieve also. The ebook is over here. If you like go over here, it opens up. You probably won't have the teacher one. Okay. So we are on chapter 2, which is not unit 2. It's chapter 2. Chapter 2 is in unit 1. Isn't that fun? Yeah, chapter 2 is in unit 1. And then do the drop down arrow. We are in 2.1. And then you have to hit this over button until you find the problems. Oh, I went too far, huh? No. What am I, why is it going like a bunch at a time? Oh, you could just scroll. I see. I see. You could just scroll. Okay. Anyway, I said this ebook is very clunky. This isn't even the bad part. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, so here's the problems. Finally, I found them. Scrolled down for an entire life until I turned into a skeleton with a beard. And then, the next thing you need to know is that if you scroll down all the way over here, there's a section called back matter, which I think is just hilarious because why would they call it back matter? But whatever. And solutions are back here for the odd problems. You can click the solutions. Now, I don't love their solutions. I don't know if you noticed on Google Classroom, I posted my own. Those are to be used for good and not evil. Good and not evil. So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna have it open over here. And you're gonna do the problem over here, even a little further, maybe over here. And then you're gonna take your rolly chair and go, and then check your answer. And you're definitely not gonna write the next one down. You're gonna scroll back over here and then do the next problem. Yeah. And then you're gonna roll back over here and check your answer. And you're definitely not gonna have that page up on your screen copying it during access so that I can just tell you're completely copying. That would be really embarrassing for you. So if any of you want to go to the library right now to check out a book, you can, just pack up your stuff and you can just go to your next class. Just go to the library and hang out there for 5 minutes if you want to check out a book. You don't have to. But anybody that wants to, please go ahead. He's not expecting you, so
Excellent.
there's only a few.